Hello, my name is Charlie Beer. I'm a marketing student or marketing major, undergraduate student with a BIA minor at the University of Denver. This session I went to was at the Museum of the Future. It was led by, probably going to pronounce this wrong, Mahed Al-Mansouri. It was a really interesting presentation about the Museum of the Future. Sadly, the actual exhibit is located in Dubai, and we weren't able to directly interact with it, which would have been really cool. But he kind of walked through a lot of what creating it was, what the goal was behind it, and a lot of other things that were extremely interesting. To begin with, what he really wanted to convey to us was that him building the Museum of the Future wasn't just about building a museum. It was about creating a mindset and a way of thinking about the future that was more hands-on and meaningful to people who could interact with it. Whereas um, a lot of the time we're just kind of talking about what the future might hold and saying, oh, this might happen or this might happen, but there's no real justification behind it. I found that perspective on it really interesting. In this, he was kind of talking about how Dubai is positioning itself as as like a hub for innovation, and they're constantly trying to stay at least 10 years ahead of the rest of the world to kind of position themselves in a different light than would normally be seen. By using the technology they kind of showed there, it really allows you to like create a storytelling approach to looking at the future rather than just kind of like imaginative, like it's all in your head, which I found really interesting. And I wish we had some of the stuff they had in the actual museum on site that we could have interacted with because I think that would have been awesome. Um, Going into like kind of uh, what they interacted with us on. Sorry, I lost my train of thought for a second there. It was kind of created to showcase the possibilities of the future in a way that we don't really do. And I know I've said this a lot, we're normally talking about the future, but it really wasn't something I had thought about or looked at in any meaningful way. I kind of just assumed, like, yeah, the future's the future and looked at it like that. But having this kind of place where you can really get a hands-on feel for the future was really interesting and made me think a lot about how we could um, improve, but I wish we could get some of the hands-on features they had there. They had one floor of the whole museum they have, which I think was 7 floors in total, is just based on like a potential future like mega space station that humans are living on in that time. Um, and then there was another floor where it's like the most futuristic, crazy city you could imagine from any sci-fi movie, but like built directly into a section of the Amazon with like all of the wildlife and plants and everything just still centered around it. And I thought that was really cool to see because it was like obviously we've heard about the crazy civilizations there, but like imagining another one popping up was really cool. Um, it kind of also was showing off some of the emerging technologies that are possible. They didn't go too in depth on what those emerging technologies specifically were, but it also brought to mind that like we often see like car companies and stuff will do like project cars where like this is what we could be capable of, what we could be doing. They don't actually like build the car, they just show it to us. But this is a place where those crazy future ideas are actually put to use and built in a way where you can kind of see it hands on and experience what it would be like. He talked a lot about captivating children and like in the next generation being where the actual growth would be, because as much as we'll be involved, it's them and our children's children that are really going to be driving the future of change for us, because it can't just happen in one generation. It needs time to grow. And so hearing how they talked about they have a whole interactive floor just for like younger kids to be able to interact with things and see like a collaborative environment where they're actually growing is really, really interesting on a grand scale. And I think that Dubai is really doing a good job at that. Um, they've like, it's absurd who they talked a lot about the diversity that's both here at South by Southwest, which is where the idea kind of was planted in his head to build something like this. I forget what year it was. It was something like 2017 they started working on it or something. And before that, he had come and like experienced South by Southwest and saw the diversity that comes here and talks about the different ideas. Um, And then he was talking about how Dubai is kind of similar to that, and that they have over, I think it was over 200 different nationalities of people living within the UAE, specifically in Dubai. And the museum was kind of like their project to translate that to the rest of the world, showing it off in different ways. Specifically, it was like I think 3.5 million visitors when it first opened. Um, and from over like 170 different countries. So they're kind of bringing all the people from all the different backgrounds together into like one space, which I thought was awesome. And it was a really cool place to see.